It could be good, but I don't know. Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 146. It is the first day of the week, aka the Vulcan Raven workout. I completely forgot what it was called for a second there. Wow, I had does not compute brain for a second there. Wow. Anyways, like I was saying, Vulcan Raven workout. I'm on my way to the gym right now, doing pretty good on time, I gotta say. Better than I have recently done. Hopefully this should be going relatively quick, hopefully, as long as it's not, well, it's gonna be packed, but I'm just hoping it's not that packed, but, you know, here's to hoping, right? But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. I wanted to talk about this because I mentioned this in a video. Now it's gonna be a few weeks old because I just edited it, yeah, like yesterday, but it's gonna be a little bit later where I could talk about this, and that later is currently. And that is the Netflix syndrome. What is the Netflix syndrome? So it is something that I made up. There is probably other terms for it. I'll probably look it up during the voiceover just to like make sure I'm not just like taking credit for something that already exists, because I probably am, but still. Netflix syndrome. Netflix syndrome was caused by me, or at least an observation that I made after hanging out with a bunch of people when watching stuff on Netflix. And that phenomena was that we would spend so much time trying to figure out what to watch that we'd use up all of the time that we had together just trying to figure out what to watch and not actually watching anything. Now, there are multiple consequences to this. The first thing that I like to think about when this happens is, wow, we've just wasted our time doing absolutely nothing, in theory, which it happens to everybody. I'm not going to say that it isn't something that it isn't a unique thing. It happens to everybody. I feel like there is like a they don't know what to watch thing. But I think therein lies the issue, is that there is so many options now that it was an issue, especially at the beginning of Netflix, because when Netflix began, the streaming side of it at least, I don't want to talk about the mailing and DVD side, but the streaming side of it was a huge deal because something like that hadn't been really done before. I would say it probably has in different ways, but the way that Netflix made it so easily accessible and popularized it was revolutionary. But it also brought upon the fact that people now had a crap ton of options in comparison to the one option. So, for example, before we got into like AI and generational like ratings that will influence what they think you may or may not like, you know, algorithms to figure all that shit out. When you went to a movie store, you were basically sucked in via the box and the back of the box, and whether or not you've seen a trailer for the movie or not. That's literally it. If you didn't have those three things, it was literally just pick at random, the box looks sick or it doesn't look sick for you, and then you read the back. If the back appeals to you a little bit, then there you go. Boom, you got your movie. If it didn't, then there you go, you put it back. Now, the phenomena is that when you went to a movie store, you didn't want to waste the trip, so you ended up getting something regardless. So you were like, all right, I'm just going to decide on this, and then boom. With Netflix, because you're not going anywhere and there's no necessarily need to do anything because you can just exit the app, it leaves that open-ended decision-making up to you, where in theory, they don't really care if you watch anything or not. It's not any skin off their back. In a movie store, they're going to want people to rent something because then that's money. If you just browse, then you're just there loitering in theory. You're not going to get any money. But Netflix already has your money, so you could be on there and not watch a damn thing for a month, and they got your $8.99, or now it's like 14 something. Who fucking knows? I don't care. I don't pay for Netflix. But the thing is that at the end of the day now, they have so many options now that people get paralyzed by all of the options that they have in front of them. And that is a major issue. And this isn't just an issue for Netflix, but it's an issue that has been caused because of the internet and all of the other things that it bring along with it, you know, all the information that we have now. I'm not going to say that it is all necessarily a bad thing, because it's not, because now we've learned how to refine it and define it better for ourselves, of course. But the paralysis, because it's by analysis, but that's a little bit different, but still, that paralysis happens regardless, even though now though we have like algorithms and things to help us curate things to better suit us in what we want to consume and or what the companies think they want us to consume or whatever the hell it is, it's still something that happens prevalently to this day, is the entire Netflix syndrome, where all of a sudden you're kind of just sitting there trying to figure out what the fuck is happening, and you're trying to figure out why it's happening, and then later you realize, oh, you just spent an hour and a half trying to watch little clips from different movies and none of them appealed to you, or a bunch of them appealed to you, and then you can't decide on which one to do, and then you just wasted an hour and a half trying to just figure out what to watch instead of watching something for an hour and a half and just been maybe satisfied or maybe disappointed. That's the other thing, and I talk more about it when we get inside because I'm about to be inside, but it's the decision-making factor of it all. That is a big key role about this. Nobody likes being in the middle, but they're okay with sitting on the middle because then nothing really happens. But we will get to that on the inside.
So on this day started with dips, which were great, as always. They're good. Going to probably start weighing these soon, but that's a whole other story for a whole other day. So back to the main subject matter. So the main reason why I wanted to talk about this, and as I did a little bit of research behind this, there is a thing called the paradox of choice. There was even a book written about it, which I will probably end up reading because I'm very curious about it. But apparently there is too much choice causing a paralysis for people, where there is too many options, so people will end up not doing anything. And I think that this can be extrapolated to so many things in so many parts of life, and I just always see Netflix as the base point because I feel like it is something that happens to everybody that goes on to Netflix or any streaming service, and they have that plethora of whatever they want to do. It's very rare where you'll have people that will actually follow their list or do anything like that, and you'll see it in all other sorts of facets in life. I mean, we got people like, even from going into high school, when you're trying to decide what to do with your life, really, like what do you want to do for college or whatever, you're kind of like forced into a thought or a train of what do you want to do. You have all the choices, the possible choices, and some people just get paralyzed by it and by that and do absolutely nothing, or get like frozen, or go retreat back into a world where they probably shouldn't be going back to because they're just so scared. And that's just like one example of like the real world paradox, really, of choice. And it is insane, but it also is indicative of a certain indecisiveness, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, but I understand because I was a indecisive person myself. I think I've had a video about this. I'm not 100% sure. If I haven't, I'll have to make one. But if I have, then there you go. But indecisiveness is something that you can train out of you. You just have to stick to it. And that's the main thing, is just sticking to a lot of things is half the battle. Most of the time when people get paralyzed by it, they just don't want to commit to something. And it is understandable, even if it is something as small as your time that you're using to watch entertainment, it can be understandable why you might not want to commit X amount of time for it. It's understandable. But even in that context, when it is just time that you're using to entertain yourself, it is better to have committed to something rather than nothing. And honestly, those are the times when you commit to things, is you find taste. You find yourself, really, in those decisions. You find whether or not you like something, whether you don't like something, and you can extrapolate this to everything, really. When it comes to choice, it is a part where you can help formulate who you are, your tastes in certain things, and as well as what you want to do. This also applies to the gym, which is something that happens a lot. I personally I've never really done this, but people program hop. That is something where they have so many choices where they're just trying a bunch of stuff and then never really committing to anything. Every YouTuber or personal trainer or whatever has their own workout plan that people will just try to pick up and keep going with it, but it all just depends, and it all may or may not work out, but people will be overly stimulated by all the access that they have to these things that they'll end up doing like one thing, and then once it gets a little stale or a little hard, they'll move on and then keep doing that over and over again. And it's because there is so much access to so much information that we get this kind of paralysis by analysis, or paralysis just in general. I feel like most of the time it is something where you just have to commit and know that whether it's good or bad, it's going to be something. And something is better than nothing. And I can tell you that right now as an example from this, because I always love talking about this movie. Whenever one night we decided to watch a horror movie, I said, fuck it. I decided to watch Terrifier, one of the best horror movies I've watched. And it's a great series. But I wouldn't have watched it because the trailer was all right and didn't do enough for me to get me to click. But when I just said, fuck it, I'm doing it, it ended up being one of my favorite movies.
There's a Newfound Glory concert happening right now, so the parking lot is full. And we're back! Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercise is not filmed. None. Exercise is skipped. Also none! Look at that, got everything in, thankfully. It is a little later than I wanted it to be, but it is because when I got to the gym, I had to go straight to the bathroom. That was the pre-workout right there. A little bit of the shits, one set to failure, or until a bloody asshole. There you go. Maybe one day I'll make a shirt of that. But anyways, back to the main subject matter. The Netflix syndrome, or just, you know, being indecisive. But when it comes to things with your time, entertainment, and I feel like the main thing I wanted to take away from this entire thing is that whether it's a good decision or a bad decision, whether whatever you watch is good or bad, take it. Take the decision to do either or. I think if you own it, regardless of whether it's good or bad, you can always find some silver lining in it. If, for example, you pick out a bad movie, well, then you know what you don't like, you know? You reinforce the terribleness or whatever. Those things happen. And this isn't just for Netflix, but this is just the example that I want you to extrapolate to other things. But if you do something and you're not good at it or it's not good, well, then just drop it or just move on. If you're one of those people that once you start something, you have to finish it, maybe that's something you should work on. You don't have to finish everything that you start. You don't have to like keep going with something that is bullshit and you could just drop it. And then the other side, if you discover something that's great, well, there you go. You could discover something that you actually like, and there you go. You can pursue that a little bit more and see what you're doing. You know, if you find a movie that you like, maybe watch the director's other movies or that other genre. I'm more in that genre of movie. Or if it's a show, same thing. If they have a show, it's the same showrunner, there you go. Or a show written by the same person or written by the same people. Shit like that. You'd be surprised what you could find if you just experiment a little. But you're not going to find anything if you stick in the middle and do absolutely nothing. If you just sit there, change it out, or just not explore the options fully and or as much as your human ability can, you're not going to really get anywhere, do anything with that. That's why the Netflix syndrome frustrates me, but I feel like it frustrates everybody who gets it, obviously. They're just sitting there trying to figure out what the fuck to watch, but in reality, they have all of the choices in the world, they just want to decide. That's the thing, it's the shit or get off the pot principle, but realistically with just entertainment, and even from there you can extrapolate it to more, bigger, and more important things in your life. That's the main takeaway, really, is just make sure that you decide on something. Whether it's good or bad, just decide, because even if it is bad, you'll learn something, and if it's good, it'll be good. So you're gonna win no matter what, even if you are wasting your time, quote unquote, or doing something you don't like or bad. You figure that out. You have taste. It colors your perception of things. And I don't understand why people don't end up doing some of that, because you have to have good and bad. I have a series going on of shorts. I'm plugging the series of shorts here, the protein bars. Not every protein bar is a highly rated protein bar, because some are just all right. Some are good. Some would be better for others who have certain taste buds, and some are dog shit. If I don't have the dog shit ones, I can't appreciate the good ones. And if I don't have some mediocre ones, I can't know what's bad and what's good. You know, there's all in between. You have to have certain experiences regardless of whether it's one or the other. But in order to have the regardless experience, you have to have an experience, and that is not sitting on your hands regardless. And there are some experiences that you are just sitting in your hands, and it is truly a middle of the road, it was all right. But that's maybe for another day, maybe for yourself to figure out. But anyways, with that being said, Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions, and if you've ever had this phenomena happen to you where you sit there and try to figure out what to watch and that takes longer than the actual time to watch something, so you end up just doing something else afterwards because you've just wasted all your time. Let me know if that's ever happened to you and your thoughts and comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about any of this subject matter whatsoever. With that being said though, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Hopefully, I'm starting to figure out a flow to editing, so I am very, very much into this type of stuff right now. So hopefully I can establish 4 videos a week, hopefully, not including shorts. Thank you very much for watching. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Keep it heavy. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.